I am back with a brand new DCEU update. Now, there hasn't been a whole lot of action in this last week, but I figured I'd get an update out here on a few things. The first thing I want to talk about is the Batman movie. They've got the merchandising and the promotion of this movie in full swing. And I'll get to some of the cool things that are out there here in a minute, but let's talk about what Matt Reeves, he's made a lot of comments about the Batman movie this past week. And what was interesting is he came out and said that the studio did give him a copy of Ben Affleck's script and actually gave him the option of retooling it and making it his own movie, but he scrapped it entirely. He said that script was too action-packed, and which kind of concerns me a little bit. He said it was too action-packed, and it was very Bond-esque, and he didn't care for that style. And he said it was deeply rooted in the DCEU and had other characters showing up from the DCEU, and that's not his style. Matt Reeves wanted to make something very much contained in his own world. So it sounds like they're going to have Batman be by himself, and there will be no other superheroes in this version of the Batman world, kind of like what Chris Nolan did. We've got that going on, and I am looking forward to that movie. It looks fantastic, and there are new posters out. There's magazines coming out, that are just revolving around the Batman movie. And merchandising is in full swing at Target and some other places with a bunch of toys having been released. The thing that I thought was interesting is Little Caesars came out with a Batman pizza, the Batman pizza, and they brought back the calzone pizza, this pepperoni calzone. They call it the calzone after pepperoni. The calzone pizza is back. Now, I personally like that pizza. I don't like Little Caesars, but when they did the calzone pizza about 4 or 5 months ago, I really liked it. And then it was gone, like within a couple of weeks. And I don't know why they did that. It actually tastes pretty good. But they came out with one in the shape of Batman's symbol. People are making fun of it online, but I'm actually looking forward to getting one of those boxes and possibly adding it to my Batman collection. I collect all kinds of Batman stuff. So I'm hoping to get my hands on one of the boxes. I actually got one of those pizzas earlier this week, and they didn't have the boxes available yet. But I do know all the toys have hit, and a lot of other things have hit. So they're in full swing promoting this movie, and I do expect it to make quite a bit of money. I can't wait for tickets to go on sale. I plan on seeing it that Thursday night when it does get released at the biggest theater in Arizona here at the we've got a theater down the street, and I'm looking forward to seeing that in the Cine One here in Arizona. The only other big thing that happened this week is Peacemaker. We have James Gunn coming out talking about the success of Peacemaker. In my last video, I talked about how it wasn't streaming very well. Well, now they're saying it's gone gangbusters all over the world, and it is very popular everywhere. I don't know where they're getting the numbers from. They haven't shown anything proving that. But James Gunn said that Season 2 is likely, and that they are actually planning and getting ready to shoot another spinoff from it. And everybody's assuming it's going to be the Ratcatcher, which would be interesting. But again, I look at it this way, and I've been posting this all over social media. This is what they're giving us, but they're not giving us the meat. They're not giving us what the fans want to see. And they're giving us all these offshoots of characters that really, nobody's really interested in. The shows might end up being decent, but as far as what we really want, we want the big three. We want Justice League. We want the meat to go along with the potatoes and the vegetables, okay? And that's just something they're not giving us right now. David Zaslav came out and did say that merger may happen a lot sooner possibly in April. And I do expect that there are going to be some big announcements when that happens. Everyone's still talking about Ben Affleck being, canceling himself from being Batman. And, I will tell everybody, if Zack Snyder comes back, so will he. I guarantee it. So we're going to see what happens in the near future. But that's pretty much it for this week. I did just see a few minutes ago, one other thing was that they do have some videos from the Batgirl set. There's one video where Batgirl's interrogating someone, throwing her kind of outside the window over the edge, and they are filming her interrogating this girl. So there are things floating around. There's lots. They're letting a lot of photos and things come from that movie, and they're definitely going to promote it quite a bit. You can already see that coming. And I'm okay with that if the Flash movie does not erase everything. I'm still worried about the Flash movie. We're going to see what happens with that. I'm still waiting. I mean, that movie comes out in November, and we don't have a trailer. We have nothing from that movie. Like, they are keeping it locked down. And that's not usually a good sign. Usually if they believe in something, they will promote it heavily like they have with the Batman film. And they're not doing that with the Flash movie. And if it does what we all think it's going to do, it's going to be detrimental to DC and Warner Brothers' bottom line. Now, I'm going to talk about something that I thought was interesting as well. I'm a DC Comics guy, so this next thing doesn't have to do with the movies. This has to do with the comics. So if you're not interested in the comic stuff, you can just stop watching the video. But DC is going full-on woke with their stuff, and I'm not going to try to get into politics very often, but the whole woke movement really does irritate me to a degree. They're changing characters. I mean, we have Aqualad, who's gay. They've now made Tim Drake bisexual, and they're making Jonathan Kent just full-on gay. And I mean, I don't know if they're going for a full Justice League full of gay people. I just think they've gone overboard with it. Let's put it that way. And their sales on DC Comics, on those titles with these characters, has, like, dropped dramatically because of what they're doing. And they're starting to cater to the minority in the groups, and they're leaving out their regular fans. And I'm sorry, I'm one of those guys where Tim Drake, I grew up reading Batman, and it was shortly after, I started with Batman 424, 425, 426, 427, where they killed off Robin, and it was shortly after that where they did A Lonely Place of Dying, and they brought in Tim Drake into the universe. This is going on, 25, 30 years. He has never been bisexual. So for them to change it for the sake of changing it is a pretty petty move. Create new characters that, have these tendencies, and that's fine, but don't change what's already out there. And that's where they're getting into, they're catering to the minorities and not giving their base what they're asking for. And I'm getting to the point where I may stop just buying titles from DC anyway. This whole Fear State thing that they've done with the Infinite Frontier and where they're going with everything, and they did the Future State last year. I finally caught up and read all of this stuff, and I'm just not digging these stories. I don't know where they're going and what they're doing, but they also do plan on killing off the Justice League here with issue 75 in a month or so, in a couple of months. And I'm going to pick up that issue and have that added to my stuff. But I think after this, I'm probably going to be done with DC Comics. They are totally shutting out their fan base, and I'm irritated with it. And I don't understand how they can't see what they're doing is shooting themselves in the foot. So I'm not seeing a bright future for DC Comics. I'm hoping that the movie and TV universe will have a much brighter future, but until Discovery takes over, I don't know what's going to happen. Because as far as I know it, AT&T and Warner Brothers still owns DC Comics outright. I don't think that DC Comics is going to be under Discovery. So we'll see what happens. I'm just not happy with the state of where the comics are headed. The Batman stories really are not that interesting. They're bringing in a bunch of other characters that are getting more of the limelight rather than just Batman and Bruce Wayne himself. And it's not something I'm interested in. I'm not interested in a CW universe where Batman has to have, all these different characters around him that get the spotlight and not him. That's why we read these comics, is for those specific characters. So when you start inserting other characters to take the limelight, it's just not what I want to pay for, especially not when they're charging $3.99 or $4.99 an issue. So I'd love to hear what other people thought, or what other people think. If you collect the comics, what are you guys thinking about the state of comics today? I'm very curious if I'm the only one that has these feelings, which I don't think I am based on the sales numbers. But we need more people to speak up and have DC, hear the fans out. So it's fine that they can cater to all of the smaller groups. That's great if you want to reach out and do that, but don't change the stuff that's already there. It's just not appropriate to do that. So, all right, we'll see you guys. Hopefully some big things happen this week. I'm looking forward to bringing you guys all the news. We'll see you guys on the next video.